What if your own family gave you an empty box for your birthday and then laughed at you? This is the story of 68-year-old Merl Hadley, and what happened next will absolutely shock you. But first, let me paint you a picture of where this all began. Make sure you stick around until the end because Merl's revenge, it's absolutely brilliant. Meet Merl Hadley. She's 68, retired, living alone in a cozy lake town in Oregon. Picture this. It's a rainy April morning, the kind that makes you want to curl up with a warm cup of tea. And that's exactly what Merl is doing. But here's the thing, this isn't a peaceful retirement story. This is about a woman who's been forgotten by the people who should love her most. Merl spent 40 years teaching math at the local high school. She dedicated her life to explaining the beauty of numbers to thousands of students. Her husband Frank, he passed away 10 years ago, leaving her completely alone. Now, you might be thinking, but what about her family? Well, that's where this story gets heartbreaking. Her son Grant is 42. He lives nearby with his wife Tabitha and their two kids, 16-year-old Octavia and 12-year-old Fletcher. But here's the kicker. The last time they visited was Christmas, and even then, Merl felt like she was intruding on someone else's life. Can you imagine? Your own family making you feel like a stranger? So there's Merl, sitting in her kitchen, wiping down counters, when suddenly the phone rings. She almost doesn't answer these days, it's usually spam calls or surveys, but something tells her to pick up. Mrs. Hadley? This is Patricia from Lakeview Glamour Salon. Just calling to confirm your appointment for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Merl is confused. She never made an appointment, but instead of correcting the mistake, something inside her says, you know what? I'll be there. Sometimes the universe gives us exactly what we need, even when we don't know we need it. The next day, Merl does something she hasn't done in years. She goes upstairs and opens her closet. Hidden in the back, still in its dry cleaning bag, is a sky blue dress. The last gift Frank ever gave her. To match your eyes, he had said with that grin she missed so much. She holds it up to the mirror. The woman staring back has changed more lines, more gray, a little slouch, but those blue eyes, they're still the same. Frank would have noticed that. He always noticed everything about her. Here's where Merl does something brave. She calls Grant. After 3 rings. Hey mom, everything okay? Notice that tone? Already guarded, like he's bracing for guilt trip. I just wanted to remind you that my birthday is this Friday. I was hoping maybe you and the family could stop by. Can you feel the vulnerability in that request? This woman, asking her own son to remember her birthday? There's a pause. She can hear whispers he's checking with Tabitha. Friday's tough, mom. Tabitha's got a product launch. Octavia has rehearsal. Fletcher has swim practice. Maybe the weekend? Merl's voice cracks. It's fine. But then something changes. More whispers and Grant says, you know what? We could swing by for a couple hours Friday afternoon, p.m. For the first time in ages, hope returns to Merl's heart. What happens next will break your heart, but also show you the incredible strength of this woman. Merl spends the next 2 days preparing like her life depends on it. She cleans every corner of the house, even the baseboards. She goes to the salon where Patricia gives her a gentle trim and adds a soft silver tone to her gray hair. You look 10 years younger, Patricia says. Merl pulls out that sky blue dress. It still fits perfectly. She pairs it with navy slacks and a delicate silver necklace, another gift from Frank. Then comes the cooking. Oh, the cooking. She makes eggplant lasagna, Grant's childhood favorite, a chocolate pecan cake from scratch, fresh veggie salad for Octavia, who might still be vegetarian, and chocolate chip cookies for Fletcher. This woman is pouring her heart into this meal, hoping to reconnect with her family. Friday arrives bright and clear after a week of rain. By 1:30, everything is perfect. Spring flowers from her garden sit in the center of the table. She's wearing her best dress. The house is spotless, and her heart is full of hope. Then comes the waiting. At exactly p.m., a car pulls into the driveway. Merl opens the door with the biggest smile, but something's off. Grant gives her an awkward one-armed hug, barely touching her shoulder. Tabitha, dressed in a tailored gray pantsuit with pearl earrings, offers a polite nod. She's poised, polished, and completely distant. The kids trail behind. Octavia doesn't look up from her phone. Fletcher mutters a quick hello and heads straight to the living room. You can feel it, can't you? The coldness, the indifference. They sit in the living room. Merl asks about work, about school. She gets one-word answers and vague shrugs. The air feels thick with tension. Finally, They move to the dining table. The food brings slight improvement. Grant compliments the lasagna. Octavia says the salad is fine. Fletcher takes seconds without a word. Tabitha barely eats, claiming she's watching her figure. Merl tries to stay cheerful. She asks Octavia about her school play. Juliet. Octavia says flatly, "That's wonderful. Maybe I could come watch?" Octavia looks at her mom, panicked. "We only have 4 tickets," Tabitha says smoothly. "And her other grandmother is already using one. Can you imagine being told there's no room for you at your own granddaughter's play?" Then comes the moment that changes everything. Merl gets up to bring out the birthday cake, and when she returns, Grant is standing. "We can't stay long. Tabitha has a meeting at 5, of course," Merl says, trying to hide her disappointment. "But before we go," Tabitha says, pulling out a beautifully wrapped box, "here's your gift." Merl is genuinely surprised. "A gift? Open it," Grant urges, and there's something strange in his eyes. Merl unties the ribbon carefully, lifts the lid, and finds nothing. The box is completely empty. She looks up confused, and then they burst into laughter. "You're just like the box," Grant says, his voice cruel. "Empty inside." "Perfect match," Tabitha adds, still laughing. Octavia films Merle's face on her phone while Fletcher giggles, whispering, "Grandma's a loser." I want you to really imagine this moment. This woman, who spent 2 days preparing, who put on her best dress, who made all their favorite foods, watching her own family laugh at her pain. The box trembles in Merle's hands, and something inside her shatters. But what happens next? That's where this story takes an incredible turn. For a long moment, she can't speak. She looks at these faces. Her son, her daughter-in-law, her grandchildren, faces she once loved more than anything. Now they're twisted in laughter at her expense. "Is this a joke?" she asks quietly. "Oh, come on, Mom," Grant chuckles. "Don't take it so seriously. It's just family humor," Tabitha adds, but Merl doesn't break down. She doesn't beg. She doesn't cry. Instead, she presses the lid back onto the box. Her hands are shaking, but her voice is steady. "We have very different ideas of what family means." She walks them to the door without another word. Grant tries to take her hand. She pulls away. "We'll call you this weekend," he says, clearly thrown off by her reaction. "Don't bother." She closes the door behind them and sits on the floor, back against the door, that empty box still in her lap. Empty. That's what they thought she was. But they were about to learn just how wrong they were. What Merl does next is absolutely brilliant, and it's going to shock you. She stands up, cleans the kitchen, and goes upstairs. She reaches into her nightstand drawer for a number she hasn't called in years. Robert Fisher, the attorney who handled Frank's estate. "Robert, this is Merl Hadley. I need to change my will, and this is very urgent." Here's what Grant didn't know, and this is crucial to the story. Frank had left Merl much more than anyone realized. Nearly $2 million in stocks, a $500,000 investment account, and valuable lakeside property that had appreciated beautifully over the years. When Frank passed, Merl chose not to tell Grant about their true wealth. She wanted him to succeed on his own. She had planned to leave it all to him and the grandchildren when she passed away, but they had just proven themselves unworthy. The next morning, she meets with Robert Fisher. They review everything: her will, her assets, her options, and Merl makes a decision that will change everything. She leaves everything to charity. Every last cent. The Lakeview Teachers Foundation, the public library, the animal shelter, a new scholarship in Frank's name for engineering students. "And your son?" Robert asks gently. He gets nothing. But Merl isn't done. Oh no, she's planning something that will give her the closure she needs. She calls Dorothy, her neighbor, and says, "I want to invite them over for dinner." To reconcile? Dorothy asks. To give them one last show. They spend Saturday preparing an elaborate meal. Turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, apple pie. Every dish is a memory from Grant's childhood. But this meal isn't for nostalgia. It's for closure. Sunday evening, p.m. sharp. The doorbell rings. They're all dressed far too nicely for a casual dinner. Tabitha has on pearls again. Grant wears a blazer. Even the kids look polished. They think Merl is going to grovel, apologize, maybe offer them a second chance at the inheritance they don't even know about. Dinner is filled with polite small talk. They're more courteous than usual, clearly sensing something is coming. Finally, as dessert sits untouched, Merl stands up. "I want to say something." They straighten in their seats. Tabitha smiles like a cat ready to pounce. I invited you here tonight to apologize, Merl begins. You can see the satisfaction in their faces, but not for what you think. I want to apologize for letting you treat me with such disrespect all these years, for allowing your indifference, your dismissive tone, your selfishness to go unchecked. Tabitha's smile falters. That empty box on my birthday was a gift, not because of what was inside, but because of what it revealed. Merl pulls out a folder and lays it on the table. This is a copy of my revised will. You'll find that none of you are mentioned in it. Everything, every last cent is going elsewhere. The room explodes. Grant yells. Tabitha shouts. Octavia drops her phone. Fletcher stares wide-eyed, but for the first time in years, Merl feels no fear, only peace. 2 weeks later, Merl leaves Lakeview for good. She's sold the lakeside property for $1.2 million, money that's already been donated to charity. Dorothy drives her down the coast to Santa Barbara, where Merl has bought a small cottage with yellow siding, white shutters, and a flower garden. For the first time in years, she's excited about the future. Within a month, she's volunteering at the local library, tutoring high school students in math. She joins a gardening club, takes art classes, and starts living again. A tea and neighborhood barbecue. She meets Gordon Parker, a retired literature professor, 72, widowed, with kind eyes and a quiet wit. You look like someone who has stories worth telling, he says, and for the first time in a decade, Merl finds herself looking forward to sharing those stories. Nearly a year passes. Merl has built a beautiful life in Santa Barbara. Then one morning, a letter arrives, handwritten, from Octavia. Dear Grandma, I don't know if you'll read this or throw it away, and I wouldn't blame you either way. But I need to write this. I need to say I'm sorry. I was awful to you. We all were. That birthday. The box, I can't even think about it without shame. The letter continues. After you left, things at home changed. Mom and Dad fight all the time now. I found old photos of you and Grandpa. You both looked happy. I'm starting college soon, studying psychology. I want to understand why people treat those they love so badly sometimes. This letter doesn't undo the hurt, but it lights something Merl thought she'd lost completely: hope. After a week of thinking, Merl writes back, Dear Octavia, thank you for your letter. It meant more than you can imagine. I've never stopped loving you. People make mistakes. What matters is what they do after. You're welcome to visit me whenever you're ready. We'll walk along the beach, eat pie, and start over. So what can we learn from Merl's story? First, never let anyone treat you as less than you are. Merl spent years accepting crumbs of affection from people who should have cherished her. Second, it's never too late to start over. At 68, Merl completely rebuilt her life and found happiness she never expected. Third, sometimes the most powerful revenge is peace. Merl didn't get back at her family through anger or spite. She found peace by removing them from her life and living beautifully without them. And finally, family isn't just about blood. Merl found more love and support from Dorothy, Gordon, and her new community than she ever got from her biological family. The empty box was supposed to represent what they thought of her. Instead, it became the catalyst for Merl to fill her life with everything she deserved: respect, love, peace, and joy. If Merl's story touched you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Have you ever had to cut toxic people out of your life? Share your story in the comments below. Let's support each other. And remember, you deserve to be treated with love and respect. If the people in your life can't give you that, maybe it's time to find people who can. Subscribe for more incredible true stories that will inspire you to live your best life. And remember, sometimes the second chapter of your life is the one you write for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.